Hi, I'm Marsh from StrataGames, and today we're playing some Mardu Synth. So this is a deck that I played a couple of weeks ago and enjoyed, but I didn't necessarily have the best luck with it. I probably didn't play it the best either, and so I'm trying to revisit it to give it another try. That video was a stream, and I believe after the first league with the deck, I made some changes, mainly taking out Temporal Intervention, and then I maybe came to some conclusions that I didn't necessarily pose correctly, which was that I didn't necessarily think the deck was the best, or maybe that I thought it was just strictly worse than Esper. Obviously, there are differences and there are pros and cons to all of them, but I probably should not have come to those conclusions quite so quickly after playing one or two leagues with the deck and not necessarily knowing how to play the deck as best as possible. So I'm going to try to play a little bit better. I have brought the Temporal Interventions back in. I've seen a lot of people playing them. So rather than just coming to the conclusion that the deck isn't as good as I would like it to be, how about I actually try to play the deck properly and learn from my mistakes? So we're playing Synthesizer. Of course, we're picking that up with Glinthawk and Skyfisher. And we have Cleansing Wildfire to fix our mana and ramp us so that we're able to use the Synthesizers to its full effect. We also have Makeshift Munitions as a one-of, Galvanic Blast, and a couple Lightning Bolts for a nice removal and a burn finish. Thraben Charm is some more removal, Graveyard Hate, and enchantment removal. Lembas is another great card to pick up other than the Synthesizer. And then we have our black cards, which is Black Mage's Rod as another finisher, Refurbished Familiar as another great card to pick up to take our opponent's cards, and Temporal Intervention to Thoughtseize our opponent, which, as I now know, can cost a single mana even if we don't return something of our own to hand, but if we just kill one of their things. So I will not forget that this time. We're of course playing 8 red bridges for the Cleansing Wildfires, a couple artifact lands, but 6 basics so that we have them for Cleansing Wildfires, and our 4 of Shattered Landscape, which can fetch any of those out or cycle later. In our sideboard we have 2 Tithing Blades, 4 Pyroblast effects, a couple Krark Clan Shamans, couple Relic of Progenitus, Navigator's Compass, and Snuff Out. So now let's take it into a league and see if we can improve on last time. All right, here we are. We don't have white mana, but we have double Lembas. We have 2 lands, which is just a nice thing to see. And Synth for later. I think with double Lembas, we should be able to find white mana not too difficultly. So I think we're going to keep. We also have a Lightning Bolt for if our opponent is playing any fast creatures or anything like that. So we're going to start on our bridge and pass back to them. And an Arbor Elf. I've been seeing a lot of elves recently. Of course, this is probably more like Gruul, Monsters, or Panza. But I have been seeing Arbor Elf in actual elves a little bit recently. So I want to play a Lembas because I want to set up my next land drop, and I want to make sure that we use our mana efficiently and things like that. But, of course, killing an Arbor Elf is pretty important. If they just play Utopia Sprawl and then like a Chrysalis, we're kind of in a bad spot. They're already getting to Chrysalis, maybe an Altasaur the following turn. I think we will bolt the bird, and I'm going to do it with the bolt, which might be wrong because currently this Galvanic Blast is just worse, but ideally this can deal 4 damage to something later. Jasper Sentinel. Okay, so it is elves, which makes me a little... I like that I killed this less just because they have a lot of other targets to kill that are pretty important, but also, you know, we have more removal, so it seems okay. We do get a land, which is not bad, but I'm going to look for a white land. Skyfisher's quite good, but currently it doesn't do anything. However, Lembas, we have another way to look. We also need to find removal and stuff. I think I'm going to put this away. Temporal Intervention isn't bad. Maybe use that next turn with our Galvanic Blast. So I did put a couple Krark Clan Shamans in the sideboard. The list that I'm running originally had 2 more Snuff Outs in that place. I heard some people say Electrickery is good. I've been playing against a ton of elves and walls, so I wanted to have those Krark Clans for these matchups, and I think it'll play out pretty nicely, ideally, in this match. They do Winding Way and find 3 creatures, which is good value, but luckily they're not the worst creatures in the world for us to see, as it's just a bunch of 1/1s, and a couple of them are pretty redundant. They do get to play them all out. Another Skyfisher, so I don't really want to Galvanic anything here because their creatures are also redundant. Obviously, if I kill a Mystic, I can cut off mana a little bit. But if I want to Intervention them, which I really do, because for all I know they have a Lead the Stampede or a Hydra that can come out, then I might need to do that. I could also just cast this for full cost, which seems crazy when I could make it cheaper, but what am I making it cheaper for? I guess I could, if I'm going to Blast and Intervention, I could Synth, which would allow me to maybe hit a land, maybe hit another Intervention or a Blast or something. I could also crack the Lembas, but then I don't have a Lembas on board, and if I get a white source and I don't want to play this one, I think that's worse, especially when the life gain's pretty irrelevant. I think I could also play Lembas to try to find like another land, but that seems greedy. I think we just send this off. I don't want to waste a Galvanic Blast, Timberwatch, and Nyxborn Hydra. So I'm going to take the Hydra because the Galvanic can take the Timberwatch. I think that seems pretty decent to me. So if they just play this, ideally with nothing else or a land or whatever, then I can also Lembas. I want to wait until I have white mana to Synth because obviously any white spell I hit could just be a waste. Avenging Hunter. Well, that's potentially even worse than the Nyxborn Hydra, so that's annoying. Play that. I mean, I can Galvanic this down, which is good that I didn't get rid of use the Bolt earlier for that reason, although Timberwatch is also a creature I'm going to need to deal with. I guess I really just need to find white mana here, though I guess they have Reachers, so I don't know if that's even going to solve our problem. Now I might as well just Lembas. I could play Vault first, because maybe I found another red spell I want to cast, another Bolt, but I think I'd rather open the potential of having a white spell or just finding a bridge. We're going to keep Landscape. That is a white land, even if it's slow, and I'm going to pass. I'm going to hope they put the counters on the Hunter, and I can just Bolt it or blast it, and we're just going to have to hope we find another removal spell for the Timberwatch. They do go for the Hunter. Okay. Well, I'm glad about that, but I think the correct play for them would have been to put it on a Sentinel. Not only are they spreading out their damage, but also Sentinel could be a really good blocker for my reach or my flyers, which they probably should assume I'm Mardu by now, especially with the Landscape. They do get in for 5, and they get to play a Timberwatch Elf. Sack this for a Plains. Wish a Krark was in our main deck. More white sources. So I'm just going to Synth now. I think it's the time. We get a Plains. Let's, I guess, just Glinthawk. Glinthawk's tough because if they could double block with these, I guess they're going to be able to block with this and pump anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I was going to say Skyfisher can attack into these without fear of dying, but that's not true with the Timberwatch. Obviously, I want to find a Bolt for the Timberwatch. Lembas is not it. I could play the Lembas to look for one, which I need pretty badly, but then I need to play the Plains. Yeah, I think we got to. If this untaps, we're in a pretty bad spot. Refurb draws us a new card. It's another attacker. We get trapped here. They get to attack us. We die really quick. I think I'm just going to get rid of it. Temporary Intervention. They don't have any cards in hand, so that does not matter at this point. Unfortunate. So we're at 8, and then they just attack with everything, and we die. We have all these Lembuses. I was never going to leave up mana to crack them, though, so it's not a big deal. Arbor Elves, Priest of Titania, but assuming they attack with at least 3 creatures, we will lose here. Actually, I guess now it's just 2 creatures, because they pump these. So let's just go to the next game. We get those Krarks, as well as Snuff Out. Tithing Blade doesn't feel exceptional, seeing as they have so many guys, but it might not be bad. I think Black Mage's Rod is superfluous. We just win by killing all their creatures, which we're trying to do with everything else. Temporal Intervention is kind of bad at that stage in the game, but it's pretty good earlier, so I think we keep those in. The Raven Charm kills a target as opposed to whatever they choose, plus it can blow up a Nyxborn Hydra, so I think we keep that. It is really good if you like Tithing Blade them and then Glinthawk Tithing and stuff, but I think that's just not what we're going for. I'd rather Lembuses that can try to find us our Krark or even single target removal. This hand looks pretty good against elves. We kind of need to find some artifacts to sacrifice to the shaman other than just lands, but otherwise it seems decent. We do need to be a little careful about Masked Vandal not losing a land to them. So, like, I usually wouldn't kill their first creature anyway. I did with the Arbor Elf because I thought maybe they were Gruul, which, to be honest, could have been part of where we went wrong. But if it was Gruul, I think it was right to shoot it. Refurb's a good draw, so I'm not going to kill this, I don't think. Especially because we're just wanting them to put a bunch of guys on the field for the Krark. Birch Lore, and they're just going to pass. So they don't have a second land. So this actually makes me think I should just shoot the Arbor Elf. Also, they could be holding something up, like a Hollow, or because of this. All right, so you want Krark when they have a ton of creatures, and if they're going to be able to deploy creatures very slowly, they didn't even have another 1-drop, or maybe they're just holding it up or whatever, then there's the Blue Blast. And Krark is not going to be as effective, but I think, yeah, now we get a Bolt. Playing a Refurb does let them get a Masked Vandal off, but so does the Bolt. But also, I think we're still just going to kill this Arbor Elf, because they just have, they're very pinched on mana. So when they become unpinched on mana, we'll get a Krark down, but they just concede right there. Okay, that was pretty good for us, obviously. And a Tithing Blade would have been good there, but I don't think in general it's going to be the best. All right, we're going to keep, I think. It's a little slow because we don't have like bolts off the bat, but Makeshift is really good against them too. We're going to start with the bridge for black in case we get something we want to play. Pretty sure if they have the cards, they could like Forest, Masked Vandal, then tap these two in response to cycle a Generous End. I think that's how that would work. They play a Birchlore, Saga Wildling for a basic, and then another Sentinel. I'm just going to play a tap land. I could play the Munitions out, but then if Vandal can take it away, which I don't really want, and we want to deploy more lands. This way I can play a Synth next turn. I mean, Munitions is going to be pretty slow. We're going to need some more interaction here, or we're going to get buried probably. Priest, Elvish Mystic. They can play like Mystic and Sentinel. They can't play the Priest here, unless they have another land they're just sandbagging. Quarian Ranger, that could probably do it, right? Yeah, because they haven't played a land on tap. There's the Priest. And there's a Mystic. All right. If I get a Kruk off the top, I will just spend 2 lands to wipe this board. I'd be pretty okay with that. It's a Synth. I mean, this is 6... 12, 14 mana. I think I have to just play Munitions and pick off the Priest. Otherwise, it's way too much mana. There's no way, like, unless they have nothing in hand. But if they have a single lead the Stampede, we're probably dead. If they have a Hydra, we're dead. So as much as I don't like it, I think, unless we get crazy lucky with the Synth off the top, I think we just lose if we don't do this. Because now they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. I mean, that's still a lot, but it's not the 15 it was before. Saga Wildling is not the worst thing to see. There's the Sentinel and a Birchlore. Come on, Krark. And another Birchlore. Shattered Landscape. Well, I'm going to Synth. Probably don't hit anything relevant off of it, but I could still like Skyfisher or Glinthawk, which blocks decently. Otherwise, I'm not really doing anything anyway, so I could also just Synth and then throw the Synth with the Munitions. Oh, we get a Glinthawk. Well, we're going to do that. Again, at the very least, I get to pick off an elf if they attack with everything, and we get a bridge off the top. I guess we will play that as well. I could play a Shattered Landscape and hold up a ping off a land, but I don't think I can afford to lose any more lands at this point. Not unless it's going to wipe their entire board like a Krark. And their top deck is a Nyxborn Hydra, it looks like. I don't know why they didn't use more mana on this, like this one, and I don't think they used Quarian, but that's a crazy top deck, and we're probably just going to die to it. I guess we have Snuff Out to survive a turn, which we can get a swamp off the landscape. So let's Synth, Limbus. I think I'm just going to deploy another Glinthawk here, pick up the Synth. We find the Snuff Out. The problem is if I use it on this, I sack this, I'm at 8. This is still a 5/6. So they attack with everything. I have to block. I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because I can kill one of these. I'm still dead, even though we found it, because I can't play another guy or anything. I can't use it on their turn. I guess if I'd done that math, theoretically I could have just sacked the Synth to the Munitions on their turn to try to use it there, like after they attacked, and that could keep us alive. Galvanic Blast. I think we're just dead, unfortunately. I mean, I guess they have to actually attack, but it seems like they probably will. Snuff this out and pass. Yep, they attack with everything, and we will die. Well, that's pretty annoying. We have just so much removal. I guess I kept a hand that was not very removal heavy. In fact, I kept a hand that was just Makeshift Munitions. And it is a really good card in this matchup, but it's not good enough early, so I should have mulliganed the hand, and that would have been the better call. All right, this hand seems pretty reasonable. We don't have any black mana. We're in the dark, so if we're against another elves or something, this is going to be pretty rough, but in the dark, it seems like we have some decent value. I think we'll keep. All right, the Utopia Sprawl on green, which probably means Gruul Monsters or Panza, because it probably would be on white if they were Bogles. We do find our black mana right away, so I think we just play that. Not to mention, if it is Panza, we obviously want to start with our indestructible lands. They have another Sprawl, and just gonna pass. After about 5 minutes, they finally pass priority. We get a Synth, which is nice. I could play a Lembas here. Now, if they are Panza, playing an untapped land is kind of annoying, because then they get to blow it up. Plus, it kind of forces me to play another untapped land, like to get a Skyfisher or something down next turn. I think we're going to play a Rustveil Bridge. Either way, they're very fast here, so if they get like a Avenging Hunter down or something like that, going to be kind of tough to deal with. They are Panza, however, exile target artifact or land. It deals 2 damage to that permanent's controller. Exile? Okay, well, I guess I should have just played a Plains then, although I guess they would have taken out the bridge, then I would lose my black mana. Still kind of annoying. I guess we will just play a Lembas this time. Bolt doesn't feel like it's probably, like it could kill a boarding party or something. We already have small things like that covered with this. I think we just get rid of that for some more value or creatures or something. That is an interesting one, especially main deck is pretty decent. Acid Moss. Okay. We have lands for a couple of turns, which is nice. And I can refurb and Glinthawk here. If if I play Ancient Den. Although I could lose my only white source, so it's possible I should just play a mountain and then refurb. We get a swamp, so that's decent. They're at 5 mana now, so could definitely be good to get down the Glint Hawk, so we have 2 creatures in case they get an Avenging Hunter or something, but I think protecting the white source is pretty important. I guess black is our least important color, so let's just play that. Then refurb them. So if they do blow up something, then I could still like Glint Hawk, familiar them next turn, discard an Avenging Hunter. Okay. There's the boarding party. Into an Arbor Elf, which is a lot of mana for sure. We gotta take this hit. We're probably gonna Skyfisher and play the familiar again. Take one of their last 2 cards. I could synth, but I don't think that seems necessary. I think I'd rather just make it so they only have 1 card left, so they can't do anything too terrible, ideally. Then we have 2 creatures that we can trade with the boarding party. They discard a Chrysalis, so their last card is even worse than that. Maybe an Annoyed Altasaur, maybe another boarding party, maybe a Nyxborn Hydra. There's the Altasaur. Into a Chrysalis. Nice. Ugh. I guess I gotta trade both of these for this. Feels like now I kind of wish I had that bolt. Finding a way to kill this without losing these guys, because I'm going to need them for these other things. We don't really have hard removal in our main deck, but yeah, I guess if we lose both of these here, can I even win? Because neither of these go down to a single Galvanic Blast until they start popping stuff for this. I need 3 guys to block here. I think I just take it, actually. Refurb takes their last card. Then I can, like, Skyfisher. I could triple block this. Just chump this. Yeah, I guess we just replay a refurb to draw a card for 1 mana. Because I want the Skyfisher down rather than the Glint Hawk, so we can triple block this and only lose 2 of them. So rather than playing, buying back Glint Hawk and replaying the Lembas, I'm going to do the Skyfisher and the refurb. It's another Altasaur. Well, luckily it's gone. Buy this back, draw a card. It's a landscape. We're going to pass. Swing with the big 3. So I have to chump block here, triple block here. I kill this. I survive with like 1 refurb probably. We take 4 unless they have like a Banner Hide, in which case I'm gonna lose. Theoretically, if they don't draw very well, I just have to chump block 2 of these. Alright, I guess Lembas Kraken can actually just keep us alive against the Chrysalis, but we're gonna play a synth, hope to find something good. Bolt for the boarding party would be nice. Plains. I'm gonna Glint Hawk the synth, and we turn up another Glint Hawk. So I could Glint Hawk again for a Lembas, but I don't really want to pick that up. I could pick up a familiar to draw a card. I could play a synth first and then pick it up, but I have 1 mana to like mess with. That doesn't seem very good. I double block and I have to chump this. I guess I could just play the Glint Hawk, pick up an Ancient Den. Actually, I guess I can pick up the refurb, but just crack the Lembas. Don't play the refurb. Trade off here. Because if they attack the Arbor Elf, this is worse. Play the Plains. Yeah, I could pick this up, but then if they attack with both of the, with everything, I have to double block here, but cracking this doesn't save us, so I have to eat this, chump here, crack. Then we have 1 refurb. We have 2 creatures to deal with. So I think we just Glint Hawk and pick up the land. Then they can't attack with this. I double block here. I crack this. The next turn I synth. I think that's right. I mean, this is the classic, like if they draw just about anything, we're gonna lose, but if they keep drawing lands, we might be okay. Attack just with these. I'm gonna keep the Glint Hawk for higher toughness, maybe? Yeah, and I'm keeping this around rather than chump blocking here because if I find like a bolt, then I can block and bolt and trade. Of course, this means I die to an Arbor Elf as well, so now I have 2 lethal attackers, so I don't know. I mean, I guess I can play a synth and crack it, worst case scenario, to get another guy. Skyfisher's a good draw, though. Start with a synth, turn up a bridge. Let's Skyfisher a synth for Black Mage's Rod. Okay, so I'm going to play that. That's enough damage I can block the Chrysalis, except if they attack with the Arbor Elf, because I have to block that, in which case I have to chump the Chrysalis. Well, it looks like they found a Nyxborn Hydra, so it does not matter either way. Well, I think I was playing that pretty decently, but it does not matter in the end. Pawns is pretty annoying. We get Snuff Outs. Quark Clans are decent. Tithings are not. Intervention does not feel good here. I guess it can prevent our stuff from getting blown up, so maybe it's okay. Munitions is way too slow. Thraben Charm can kill Nyxborn or other creatures. I guess Black Mage's Rod. Again, we're trying to just stop them. These are not as relevant, so maybe we'll cut those. Alright, we have a Krark, which is nice for the mid or late game. Galvanic for an early Arbor Elf. Lembas. I think this one's okay. Trying not to make the same mistake I made with Elves, where I kept a handoff of 1 card that ended up not really being the best choice. If they play an Elf, I'm going to Galvanic Blast it. If they don't, I might just Lembas here. Gets more artifacts on the field quicker for the Krark, and also obviously I just use my mana, which I don't want to waste. Yeah, they got a Wild Growth, so we are going to go for the Lembas. Snuff Out. I mean, Snuff Out's got to be good against the creature deck. I guess this does give him an opportunity to blow up our landscape with a Thermokarst or something, but what are you going to do? That's going to be the case whether we have it like this or not. And if we crack it, I guess if we had it untapped, they could never target it, but whatever. Repurposer. Temporal Intervention is not terrible because it could take away a Ponza land, it could take away a Ponza spell or something important. Fortunately, we can't cast it because we don't have black mana, so I think we want to hold up a landscape to get black for next turn. I guess I could... No, I mean, I could sack this for a swamp, snuff this out to trigger this, but I still don't have the black mana for it. So I probably just Skyfisher the Lembas, play a bridge. No, not a bridge, because then I play a landscape, crack it for black. Or I could just play a Rustvale Bridge, hold this up, crack it. I have a Galvanic Blast to hit for 4. But I already have a Snuff Out. I think I'd rather play the Skyfisher. And then we'll play the landscape so that we can get black next turn. They've got another Repurposer. Not the worst thing I can see, especially against the Krark. Although not really something I want to spend my removal on either. Swing for 3. We'll sack our landscape for a swamp. Another Skyfisher. So I guess I can't Galvanic Blast one of these down and then Intervention because I would need to play the Lembas, which then I wouldn't have mana for everything. So I could snuff one out. I don't really want to use a snuff out. Premium removal on one of these. I could Skyfisher back a Skyfisher and then trigger the Intervention, but that doesn't seem like I'm really developing anything. I think I want to play Lembas. I could Skyfisher back a land so I could have blockers for these guys and then play a Lembas. That's kind of like self-Ponza-ing me, but I do need to make sure I don't take too much damage from these guys. If they like Altasaur or something, I can snuff it out next turn. I think we're going to do that. I could also just like Lembas, Rustvale, and hold up a Galvanic for one of these. I'm still taking the hit from the other, which I will be anyway if they attack with both of them, but yeah, I guess that might have been better. In which case I could just... No, I can't Galvanic and Temporal. We already talked about this. I don't know. I don't think this is terrible. Maybe it's not the best play. Of course, lands leaving doesn't trigger the Intervention. I could also just hold this up. Then I think I'm just wasting mana mostly. So let's Lembas. Look for... Synth doesn't look crazy here when I'm kind of pinched on colors of mana, but it is just another artifact for the Krark. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'll keep it for that. It's a little awkward too because it's more red mana. I don't know. They have another Repurposer. Well, the fact that these are all 3/3s is nice for the Shaman. Of course, I am going to throw away a flyer for one of these. I guess I do have an option to snuff one out. I take 1 extra damage. They just had 6 mana and they didn't do anything with it. So they have to have all like Altasaurs or red spells. I think we take it because this is one of the easier ones to kill with a Shaman. All right. They're passing Thraben Charm. So now I could land, Galvanic Blast, and Intervention. Ugh, I don't want to lose any of these permanents, and I don't really want to spend my removal on these guys is the problem. Thraben Charm doesn't quite kill. I could crack a Lembas, but I don't want to lose a land. I don't really want to lose an artifact for this Shaman. I think if we're not going to play Shaman right now to wipe the board, which I'm not, I might as well Galvanic Blast one of these because I'm going to take the damage from them regardless. So then I might as well Intervention. So let's just do that. I'm not 100% sure, but this seems decent. Yeah, they do just have all green and red. So we're obviously taking the one they can cast. Seeing as all the other ones they cannot. Am I going to block this here? No. So let's swing. They can't cast the other ones, and if they are able to cast them, it's going to be one at a time, so I might as well just take the big one they can cast and hope they continue not getting red or anything else. They attack for 3 and just pass. Okay, I'm gonna get another swamp, I guess, in case they blow one up. Probably is right. I also probably should blow all of these up before they get a Chrysalis out. Okay, a mountain's nice. Now that lets us play a Synth. We hit another Synth. Okay, guess I'm gonna play a mountain and then play the Synth because I could whiff on a land, which I don't care too much. I'd rather just not have this be a problem. Okay, so I'm going to Galvanic Blast the Repurposer then. Not waste that. They have a million spawn, but even if they get 1 Chrysalis down, I can snuff it out. Or if they get like an enormous Hydra, I can snuff it out. And if they don't get anything, then next turn I can Krark and wipe these away. I guess their best thing is to get like an Altasaur, but they don't. They get a Acid Moss, which is going to find them red, I assume. I could crack this Lembas, but I don't think I need to. Glint Hawk. Let's start with that. So yeah, I think we're going to put down a Krark, and then when they cast a Chrysalis, I'm going to let the resolve, wipe all 8 spawn, and then before the Chrysalis is on the field so that we don't even have to deal with that guy that much. And if they get like another Altasaur or something that they can use all that mana on, it's worse this way. I could just wipe them right now, but then they'd have a 4/5, which is not great. So, but we're going to start with the Glint Hawk to see maybe we get like our other Krark off the synth or what have you. We're mostly hoping for more artifacts and lands. Plains is decent. We will play the synth again. Vault of Whispers, I'd rather the artifact land, so let's play that. Although this means I can't hold up Thraben Charm this turn, but I think that'll be okay. Play the Krark and attack. They sack some spawn to pay for the Chrysalis, seeing as they know they're going to die to this anyway. Like I said, let that resolve, and then I'm going to crack the Lembas, I guess. We don't really need the life too badly, ideally, and these synths being extra creatures and stuff should be better. Then wipe those away. They didn't have anything for the mana, although they have a Deglammer afterwards. Sure. Refurb. So since this is small right now, I can Thraben Charm it away. First we're going to play a Refurb, and we're going to hold the Snuff out for the second Chrysalis. Then we can get in for 4 this turn, 6 the next. They discard a Boarding Party, deal that a bunch of damage, and we'll attack for 4. There's a Chrysalis, and they have a Deglammer on our bridge. Okay, don't think I'll need that, but good to know about. Glint Hawk, we can't use it. Now I have to alternative cost this, which is annoying. I guess if they get like a Boarding Party off the top, we could go to 1 here. That's not quite lethal, so we'll attack. All right, and we win that game. They have used a lot of time. I've tanked a lot because I've felt like I can because they've used a lot of time. So they have 4 minutes left to win the last game, which, I mean, they certainly could with this deck. And we will hope we can get there against their like 20 artifact and land hate spells. Double Temporal Intervention. We just have decent mana, but obviously who knows if that'll stay true. I think it's a keep, but it is slow. They just have a mountain. That's a crazy start. I assume it's got to be like Cycle of Generous at. No? Okay, I guess they just didn't have anything on 1, so it didn't matter. Yep, there's the Glamour. I will play a bridge again. I guess I maybe should just landscape there because they can't kill it. Then I can for sure get a Lembas or something down. Yep, that probably would have been better. Let's do that this turn. I guess it's going to get a mountain because that's the only color we don't have. Repurposer. Galvanic Blast. I guess black is our most important color here, so I'm going to not play it so that I can Lembas here. Look for removal and lands, I guess. I don't think I need another Lembas. Glint Hawk's okay. Next turn I could like refurb Glint Hawk and Galvanic. That'd be pretty good. Nope, they have the Thermokarst. So I guess now I just refurb. I got a Vault of Whispers to do that, which I hope it doesn't get destroyed, but what are you going to do? Otherwise, I could just play a Swamp and I have a Galvanic for 2 damage. That doesn't do anything at all. Discard a Boarding Party, play a land, and they have an Avenging Hunter. Okay. Well, we need another... No, we have 3 artifacts. Okay, I was going to say we need another artifact, but we actually have the Refurb. So, Rustvale Bridge. So I can Galvanic this, take the initiative, and Intervention them. We're going to pass the initiative back a little bit, but I can also... Glint Hawk, because I could get a Plains here. Probably just want to get down the Rustvale. Attack for 2... Still going to get a Plains. So 3, hit the Avenging Hunter. Then I can Intervention them. Their last card is a Repurposer and a Mountain. So I could play a Glint Hawk to chump, but I don't really want to chump. I'd rather keep the Glint Hawk for the synth next turn. So they're going to get the trap, or not the trap, the Forge here once. Wild Growth is fine by me. They play their Mountain. All right, we start with the synth. Landscape. I guess I Glint Hawk back a synth. That could get us a waste, whereas I might as well just pick up the Lembas, right? Although if I pick up Lembas, I'm going to have to chump with Glint Hawk. But I take this and I forge onto this. I'm hoping they don't hit anything. I think that's probably better. We just take Lembas, play this, Lembas. We don't want the land. Cleansing is decent. We'll take the initiative. I think we have enough tools that we just go for the aggressive play. I guess technically, since they're on time, maybe I just go for the Scry, because if I just find removal and ways to survive, we probably win. There's a Repurposer, not the worst thing, not the best. I don't really want them to take the initiative here, so we'll chump. We will trap them. Thraben Charm, if I get another creature, can kill one of these. So I guess I synth first. Oh, I could get another creature with this synthesizer right here. So let's do that, actually. Probably wasting what's off the top, unless it's an untapped land or another Thraben Charm, but that's fine. It is a Plains, actually. That's exactly what I needed. Okay, so now I can just pass, and it's only really bad if they get like a Boarding Party here. It's only really bad, or like Altasaur into it. Thermokarst, well, we'll respond by dealing 4 damage to this Repurposer, and I'll just trade both of these for this, so that They don't have any creatures, and we'll block, and we win. All right. I think I played that one pretty well. It did take a lot of thinking. There were some very intricate lines, and I'm sure I made some mistakes, but I think generally I did okay, and I'm pretty happy with how I played that match. All right, round 3 here, and if this isn't just about the perfect hand, I don't know what is. I guess we're missing a synth, technically, but we have Wildfire on turn 2, and then we have Lembas. Seems pretty good. We are against Rakdos Madness, so maybe a little slow. But we do have a Lembas, which is nice for some life gain. We have Flyers, which can block their potential Flyers. They have nothing here, which is interesting. They could have like a demand answers or something, but I don't know what they're going to do with that. All right, we're just going to Wildfire. We got a ramp while we can. Yeah, they just have a bolt, maybe another bolt. We're going to grab another white. It's just if we want to get a bunch of these out at once, I think might be the play. Possible an extra red is good just because a synth is rough with just 1 red, but right now it looks like we're just going to try to refurb and Glinthawk them, although that's awkward because 1, we only have 1 artifact at the moment, and 2, if we make them discard, then they could just Madness potentially, but not if they're tapped out. All right, grab the prize and Kitchen Imp, so they're going to get in for 1 attack here. We get another Lembas. I think I want to play a Lembas to get artifacts going for these and also just be able to sacrifice them quickly. Bridge, I don't think I want. I want to have a blocker for this. I think I just play a refurb here because I don't want to play any of these that make me pick up lands or the Lembas. And this does get a card, even if it is a little more mana. It's also not really what I want to trade off with these, but well, they have another Grab the Prize and Kitchen Imp, so I guess I will have to still take 2. So we're down to 8 plus trade here. I can play another Lembas, Glinthawk it back, and also crack a Lembas. Maybe that can keep us alive, or I could just rust Synth, but we have no red, so that seems kind of bad. I think we just start with Lembas. I could also just pull back 2 Lembases with 2 of these. That seems bad because then we just probably die. I think I need to crack one of these. Don't need another land. Synth. Yeah, so let's just play a blocker for this and crack a Lembas while we're not necessarily dead yet. Highway Robbery. They got Gnomes of the Vein. Tap their red land for it, so that's interesting. Red and black land. I will block. Carnarium, I guess, to pick up the Barons. I guess that makes sense why they would have tapped it then. Synth, still feeling bad. I kind of want to crack a Lembas. We know they have a Jagged Barons. Yeah, I guess I could play a Glinthawk and pick up a land. That doesn't seem very good. I'm going to hope they just don't have another Kitchen Imp. So I think we're going to Lembas, crack it, crack the landscape, and play a bridge, and then next turn we can maybe do some decent stuff if we're still alive. Glinthawk is okay, but I think we need some more other stuff, and we will pass. They have infinite draw twos, it appears, because this is their 4th one. Yep, so we take 5 and plot a Highway Robbery. Why not? Plus a Jagged Barons. We're at 5. Galvanic does not do anything good. We're gonna Synth. I guess if we had another Lembas, maybe we can survive here. Vault of Whispers. Let's play Glinthawk. Pick this up. Refurb is not exactly what we need. I could refurb them twice. The chances they have 5 damage with the 2 cards left in hand, a card they're going to draw, plus 2 cards they're going to draw is very high. I guess there's a chance I could still find a Lembas and use it here, so let's Synth again. That's a landscape. Now the chance of finding a Lembas and cracking it's nothing, so I guess we do take the play of Familiar twice plan, but I just don't really see that winning us the game here. They just pitch a couple lands. There's an Epicure, Flashback, Faithless Looting, Fiery Temper, and an Alms of the Vein. Okay, we get compasses and we get relics. Makeshift is not good. Black Mage's Rod is not great. I guess it can help us race. Is that really our goal, though? Temporal Intervention is decent. I like Hand Attack because we can take their draw twos, and if they don't have a million of them, that can win us the game. Removal is not the best thing ever, not the most important thing ever, but it can be good against their creatures if we don't have any, although we have a good number of creatures. Thraben Charm can hit graveyards too. I guess maybe we cut like a couple bolts and a couple rods rather than just all rods. We have Lembas. We have Galvanic for an early creature. I guess we keep this one. Play the bridge out. They hit us with the Barons. Play a Rustvale Bridge. Grab the prize with a Snacker. I could just kill that right away. I guess I probably should. Just keep it off the field a little bit. Another Galvanic. Well, I'm gonna refurb Glinthawk. Could Lembas. This is a little more aggressive, I guess, just because we're taking a card. One of the ways you can win pretty nicely against them is to attack their hand, even though they want to discard cards in general. And if they discard a Snacker there, it's not the best, but if you can make them discard 3 or 4 cards, then you can really start to make some progress. Unfortunately, they have a grab the prize and 2 snackers this time. Play a swamp and they have a duress. Takes a Lembas probably. Yep. Skyfisher would be decent because it can block these. Cleansing Wildfire's fine, I guess. I suppose we'll use that. Landscape. We'll make him discard a card, play a bridge. Question is, am I going to block both of these? Because if I do, then just a draw 2 brings them both back. I guess, no, I don't think so. I'll block just one, so I guess we'll swing. Block. Duress takes our Galvanic Blast. And there's a Highway Robbery. They sack a land for it. That's interesting. Jagged Barrens. Temporal Intervention. I could cycle this, or I could just try to take a card from their hand. I probably just take a card from their hand. A couple lands and a Robbery. I think Robbery's got to be better than the Kiss. This kind of draws 2, but they have to discard 2 cards for it, which could be good, could be bad. I think we just take the Robbery, and I'll keep the Landscape. I will block. I mean, Kiss still lets them bring these guys back, but at least they'd have to potentially just burn through the Blood Fountains on lands. There's the Vampire's Kiss, and they pass. Skyfisher. I can play that and bounce whatever, so I might as well just cycle this first in case I get something better. Nope. I will play this as a blocker. A couple planes and pass. Flashback of Faithless Looting for a Kitchen Imp, and a Snacker comes back. They also pitch a Vampire's Kiss, so their last 2 cards have to be relevant cards. I will block the Kitchen Imp. There's a Glint Hawk. We will Intervention, take an Alms of the Vein when they don't have black mana up. Actually not bad. And then I will Glint Hawk. Yeah, I guess I'm going to block both of these. And they can get them right back with the blood tokens, but at least we only lose the Glint Hawk. I mean, we have to find Lembuses, a lot of them, and very soon, otherwise we're going to have trouble. But I guess it's not impossible we could win this one. We have a Faithless Looting, a Fiery Temper, we get a beautiful Landscape, and another Skyfisher. Well, let's see if they can't find a Lightning Bolt for at least 4 draws. 3, I guess 5 draws with the Faithless Looting. There's a Fiery Temper. Alright, that match feels rough. Small sample size, but they also just drew impeccably well. 2 grab the prizes, 2 highway robberies. I guess I took one of those robberies. But 4 draw spells in the top, like, you know, by the time they had gotten this 20-ish cards, assuming there's only 8 of these draw spells. I know there's some Faithless Lootings too. I don't know. And then they drew extremely well the first time too. I can't say I felt like, oh, I played amazingly, but I also don't necessarily think there was much else I could do about that match. But if people saw some issues with my play, please let me know. I would be happy to learn. All right, we're on the play here, and this hand looks okay. We have Cleansing Wildfire on curve. Black Mage's Rod could be decent. And obviously Intervention. Play a bridge and pass. We're going to just Wildfire here for probably just white, in case we get something we want to play next turn before we get the bridge down. They are a red something. I'm going to guess Red Madness. There's a Highway Robbery and a Sneaky Snacker. Look at that. All right, so I want to crack this this Landscape so that I have as much colored sources as possible for the Synth next turn. So I guess I could Black Mage's Rod or Lembas. So I guess I'll just Black Mage's Rod to get our damage going. Play a bridge here, and we'll crack this probably for a swamp. They swing for 2, and another Robbery, and a Fiery Temper to the face. Crack our Landscape. I guess I probably want more red for the Synth. No, we'll go Swamp because we have a red for the bridge here. Yeah, let's just do this. Another bridge. So I could Synth here, but I could also like Lembas, crack the Lembas, and Intervention them, which could be good to get a Gutter Snipe before they can play it. Plus, I'm going to want to crack the Lembas at some point anyway. This means I'm playing this Landscape, which I don't necessarily want to. Yeah, I guess I kind of want to get a bridge down. I guess this also could find a blocker for the Snacker. Let's Synth. Also, if we find a Glint Hawk or something, then I can Intervention anyway. Find an Ancient Den. I guess that lets me still just play the Lembas and crack it, which means we can't Intervention this turn, but if I don't find something for the Synth, like a Glint Hawk, then I'll probably just crack it next turn anyway, which means we Intervention. Yeah, I think we just Lembas. Another Lembas, we'll keep that and pass here. If they play like a Gutter Snipe, I'm going to crack Lembas in response and just hope we don't die to a million burn spells. I guess if I'm not doing anything anyway, I should maybe just crack this in response to the Snacker, because for all I know, if I take that, go to 13, maybe they could kill us from there. So let's just play it safe. There's the Gutter Snipe. I guess my goal was to take this away before it was on the field, and now I can't do that. Ideally, I can find like a removal spell for it, but if I don't, it could be rough. So I guess I just start with the Lembas, looking for a blast of some sort. I guess we're kind of tight on mana, and we need to find something this turn pretty pretty badly, so I'm going to get rid of the Synth. Another Lembas. Generally decent. Not really what I need at the moment. I guess I could just crack Lembas and then intervention them. Feels like we're going to lose there. So I could just Lembas, look for a removal spell. I think I have to kill the Gutter Snipe to live, probably. I don't know. Let's play a Lembas. Black Mage's Rod is not going to cut it. Another Temporal Intervention. When we haven't lost anything, because I didn't crack these, I guess I'll play this and hope we don't die. Oh, I was supposed to play an untapped land, so I could crack a Lembas and at least be at 19. I had that in my mind the entire time, and then I just forgot it right at the end. Often these decks kill by overkill, so it might not matter, but we're at virtual 9 with the Snacker. It could be at 12. And they pass to us. That, seeing as we have 2 Lembuses on board, I feel like that means they can't possibly have a win, because they wouldn't have just passed into that. Thraben Charm can kill the Gutter Snipe, but only if this lives. So I think I crack a Lembas and then intervention them and see what's up. So that worked. So try to take a card from their hand, because if they only have like a bolt or 2, they can't have 2 bolts because they could have killed me. It's got to be like a lava dart and something. Yeah, there's the dart. Okay, that's annoying because I can't take it and it can kill the hero, which means that the Thraben Charm can't kill the Gutter Snipe like at all. They can't have another lava dart because that could have killed me. They flash it back right away. Okay, well that's, I guess they're trying to get the damage in before, but I'm not taking anything. I don't know why they cracked land there. Triple Mountain, yeah. So they just have nothing. That's great. So I can, in fact, kill their Gutter Snipe. And there's nothing that they could possibly draw that would kill us here, right? That's not true at all. They have a Snacker, and that means we're at 4, so they could draw a Fire Blast, which means I should crack this Lembas. Well, they got very unlucky. Triple Mountain there. I was like, pretty much had to be that. Otherwise, 4 cards, they probably would have killed us with Gutter Snipe. But they really didn't need to flashback the Lava Dart there. But since they did, that helped us a lot. They attack for 2, play a Mountain, pass. We are getting flooded. I think I just have to crack this Synth. I guess I could cycle this first, which is the same amount of mana to draw a card. We don't get an extra 2/2, but I guess it's better if we get a Glit Hawk or something. So I guess we'll start with this. And we draw another one. Perfect. That's what we wanted. Alright, we're going to crack the Synth because I would like another 2/2. If we don't die here, maybe we can survive till next turn. Plus, I guess we can intervention their last card. If that's a Gutter Snipe, maybe it's worth it. Otherwise, if it's anything instant speed, it's kind of a waste. But I think we just do this. And we turned up another land, so that doesn't really matter. I guess we'll intervention them. And it's probably an instant speed that spell they can cast in response, or just another Mountain. But on the off chance that they are trying to sandbag a Gutter Snipe, I think it's worth it. Fire Blast. Okay. Well, honestly, making them use their lands here is also probably worth it, but I mean, we're at a virtual 1 from the Snacker, so even though we survived that one turn, we have to survive another turn here, and then we also have to draw something. They attack for 2, and then they have a Highway Robbery. Just have to dodge 2 more cards. Now they have a Faithless Looting. They ditch a couple mountains. They finally found the bolt. Okay. We get compasses and I guess relics if we want them against snackers, lava darts and things. Intervention is okay. Munitions is bad. Black Mage's Rod is bad. Yep, so I guess we just bring in those 5. Alright, on the play. 1 land. Not gonna cut it. This one is not very exciting, but on a mulligan, it's not bad enough to get rid of, I don't think. We don't need double relic. I'll play a bridge, Epicure. I think I just play a relic so that if they go for a snacker, I can get rid of it. And by that I mean it prevents them from going for the snacker. They attack for 1. Blood token away a Fiery Temper. Exile it and go to our turn where we, I guess, Skyfisher back the relic so that we have a blocker. Or I could just bolt the Epicure, but then I don't have a bolt for a Gutter Snipe. So let's just play the Skyfisher, pick up the relic, play it. There's a Gutter Snipe. Okay, I can bolt it. If they're putting one out there, it means they don't have much else to do, or they have multiple, something like that. I'm just gonna pass. There's the second one, so multiple was the correct answer. Bolt the Skyfisher. Probably should crack the relic because it's past the point where a snacker's like totally devastating, although it's still really good. But I also need to find a removal spell for this Gutter Snipe, so let's just do that. And of course, I didn't do it on my turn, which means this intervention will cost full mana, which is relevant with this Wildfire. But let's do that, see if I can find a removal spell for this Gutter Snipe. Still, nope, double intervention. Well, I guess we're going to play one of them. Okay, I mean, obviously I would have liked to take a card there, but Triple Mountain's pretty good for us again. That said, we are absolutely dead in the water, and they top deck a Grab the Prize. Well, how lucky for them. I do feel like we've been getting very unlucky, and our opponents have been getting very lucky, so that's frustrating. I mean, Certainly 3 mountains was very unlucky for them, but the fact that they then dodged our hand attack to draw the perfect card is pretty rough. And there's a Faithless Looting, they find any bolts and we die. And there's a Fiery Temper. Alright, here we are once again with a good hand. Let's try not to squander it. Play a bridge and pass. We are against some sort of blue deck. I'm gonna cast a Wildfire and just hope it doesn't get Spell Pierced. It did. Unfortunate. Cycle a Troll. Sulphurous Mire. Okay, so it's like Grixis control. Interesting. I guess we just refurb. Glint Hawk it back. Mystical Teachings. Yep. Well, I'm probably going to exile their graveyard before they can use that. Ponder. Play a Fjord. Black Mage's Rod. Okay, we're going to attack. I guess if I think they're playing Terrors, then I could just Thraben Charm now. But if they want to spend 4 mana on Terror, I think that's fine with me. I think we just go with the Rod because it's a little more expensive and it allows us to familiar Thraben Charm next turn if we want. It's also a little more aggressive if we end up like blasting here. Preordain, scribe both to the top. Augur Bolas. Okay. Reveal Alorian. They missed their land drop this turn though. I'm gonna blast this for aggression and then I think we're gonna refurb and Thraben Charm their graveyard. We don't have a lot else going on and they have a lot of cards, but ideally we can just win the race here. Although if they have like a breath weapon, it's pretty dang bad. But I'm going to exile their graveyard because they're going to get value out of this Teachings eventually. They discard a Fiery Cannonade. Well, I cannot imagine they would do that unless they have another one. So that's not my favorite. But I'm going to exile their graveyard because they're going to get value eventually, and the last thing I want is Terrors to come down right now. I kind of assume cycle Alorian for another land, play that, and then Cannonade. This doesn't make it a pirate, does it? Dang. Oh, they just draw the island. Fair enough. Cycle this anyway. Well, we'll attack. I still assume they have it, although I'm not sure why they would wait till our turn where we could get more value potentially off our creatures. Maybe I play something pre-combat, but that seems unlikely. Or maybe they got rid of their only Fiery Cannonade when it wiped our whole board? I don't understand. Or maybe they're taking the damage to see if we play anything else this turn? Okay. That was it. And they do have the actual breath weapon. Okay, well, I like that they took 6 damage, but certainly the breath weapon's still good enough. We might just not be able to do anything. Well, they have the Campfire, of course, in their main deck. It's going to be hard to come back from. They have a bunch of blue mana up. You get a Lembas. What are the chances they counter that? Probably decent since we haven't done anything else, but it's not the highest value thing ever to counter, so maybe it'll resolve. Nope, they do counter it. There's the Terror, and activate Campfire. We get a Galvanic Blast. A little too late. I guess I'll play the Mountain just in case we get a Synth. Brainstorm. Another Terror. Activate Campfire. Swing for 5, and we get a Swamp. Alright. Well, we get Relics and Pyroblasts. Makeshift seems irrelevant. Bolts and Galvanics don't seem very good. They probably will have some Mystics, but these aren't very good against those either. I think maybe we just cut all of them, because Black Mage's Rod is decent against counterspell matchups, because if we just get this through, everything else turns into damage, even if it gets countered. That's 1 too many to cut. I kind of don't hate a Clan Shaman against a couple Terrors. Doesn't seem amazing. Maybe Snuff Out's just decent against Terror, and the Mystic, I assume, is going to be somewhere. Maybe over like Thraben Charm. Can't keep a 1-lander. Not really how I want to go out, but can't keep a 1-lander. Okay, I don't think I can keep Intervention at this point, or land or refurb. Kind of just need as much value as possible. So I think I'll get rid of a land. I can hopefully find another with the Lembas, or just draw them naturally. But if I keep the land instead of like a refurb or a Lembas, and then I draw more, I'm just like super toast, I think. Although them holding up an island for... Well, there we go. I got a land. Them holding this up for Spell Pierce or a Null is pretty bad, but I don't think I can just do nothing. I have to be proactive. In general, in this matchup, I will keep that. But also, when I'm low on cards and they could just sit back, they're going to have land drops more than me. I think I just have to be proactive. And they are intimidated by our Lembas, and they concede the game. I'm not sure why. Maybe they kept a hand accidentally. Maybe they kept a really risky hand on 7 that didn't pan out, but didn't pan out in 1 card. That seems kind of weird. Maybe they just gotta go, maybe they gotta go. Although if they don't concede this game, then I assume it's not that they had to go. I don't know. They just wanted to make it more even. They just really wanted to play first. And you know what? They've achieved that. I mean, this hand is okay. Can you believe that we won that Mold of 5? That was incredible. Brilliant tactics and strategy from me. They start with a Campfire this time, so we'll be fighting through a lot of life gain. We do have a fair number of creatures to try to make that happen. Cycle a Lorien for an island, and play a Preordain, both to the top. We get an intervention, so I can't really do anything effective this turn, so I think I just play a bridge, hold up Pyroblast, and pass. They Brainstorm. I'm not going to Pyroblast that. I don't really expect to have a Pyroblast target this turn, because we're going to try to save it for Terror, Lorien Revealed, Murmuring Mystic, Mystical Teachings maybe, but they cycle a Troll for an Ice Tunnel and pass. We get a bridge, so I could play Swamp, play a Refurb, pick it back up with the Glinthawk. I think that seems reasonable. They could play a Terror or something. I can't get around a Pyroblast, but they kind of tap out to do that, which seems unlikely. I kind of want to play a bridge so I can like double Refurb or something next turn, but then I'm not doing anything this turn, and that seems bad, so let's just do this. I could hold up Pyroblast here too, which I guess is decent against Terror. It's fine against Murmuring Mystic, but if they play a Mystic, I can just Pyroblast it then. I think we just do it now for the... I was thinking do it now for the getting around the counterspell on the Glinthawk at least, but I guess doing it this way also means, like, if I had done it the other way, I could just Glinthawk this next turn and then Temporal Intervention if I wanted. Maybe that was wrong. Augur Bolas is also not a terrible one to Pyroblast, but it's not really blocking anything here, so it's probably fine to leave too. They get a Brainstorm and use it right away, and they just activate Campfire. Okay. I will say them having Snowlands also probably means they have a couple Screds in their deck. Cleansing is not bad. I could bridge Cleansing Wildfire Refurb, but they have enough mana to start like Lorien Revealed or stuff, so I probably want to hold up Pyroblast, which means I just Cleansing Wildfire, I think. Hold up Pyro. We will get another white source. Glinthawk, we'll play a bridge, and we'll pass. So next turn I can do like Refurb, pick it back up, Temporal, something like that. Another Augur's annoying, but we're trying to be in the skies, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Counterspell, of course, is pretty decent, but they don't have it up here. They just activate Campfire right away. Okay, 4 cards. I can take away a couple of them with the Refurb, or I could do Refurb Intervention. Ooh, Vault of Whispers means I can do both. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I want to tap out, I can make them discard 3 cards, but I'd probably just do Refurb, Glinthawk, Refurb, and then Intervention, and then hold up a Pyroblast. That makes more sense. Attack for 2 here. Play the Refurb. I guess, I don't know if there's a reason to Intervention first. I guess theoretically they could discard non-lands and keep lands, but that seems unlikely. They could also have like a Nulls, but clearly they didn't here. They could have a Spell Pierce that maybe I should play around with the Intervention. Let's pick this up, and yeah, let's just play this Vault. And we'll Temporal first. Might as well. Gorilla Shaman, which can eat 1 Vault of Whispers, not a big deal. Counterspell, and Thorn of the Black Rose, which they're never going to cast with my guys. Unless they get a Breath Weapon, but I have a Skyfisher, so they have to find a Breath Weapon and a removal spell. Gorilla Shaman's just minorly annoying. I guess it's probably just Counterspell. I have the Pyroblast for it, but this way I can protect against like a Murmuring Mystic or something. Not to mention that I can just Refurb and they're going to discard probably the Thorn here. Or I guess maybe their out they think is find a Breath Weapon into Thorn, which is fair. It would be quite unfortunate if they had that here. I think I'd rather hold up Pyroblast because if they top deck like a Lorien or a Mystic, they're just going to slam it. Although Mystic I could kill on my turn, but a Lorien I would really like to not resolve. Or a Mystical Teachings, which if they find that, they're going to try to find a Breath Weapon with, so I'd like that not to resolve either. They do discard the Gorilla Shaman, so yeah, I think they're just hoping for the best outcome here. Cycle a Seeding Landscape, that's fine by me. Activate Campfire, they attack. I guess I'll block 1. I could trade, but I don't really want to, and I don't anticipate they have a way to deal 1 damage, so we'll just absorb 1 of these, and they'll pass. Black Mage's Rod. We will swing for 6, and I'm going to play Skyfisher because it doesn't die to a board wipe, but the question is, do I just replay a familiar to take a card from their hand, or I could hold it in hand? Probably just do it right away, because with this Campfire, we do want the damage pretty quick, but I don't think there's any reason to play this Black Mage's Rod out yet, and this way I also get to hold up cycling this Landscape. They finally discard the Thorn. So they had something better, or they just realized that they're not going to be able to keep the Monarch. There's the Lorien. This is what I've been holding this up for, so we're not going to let that resolve, and we win the match. Nice. That was partially because they conceded game 2 for really no reason, but we'll take it. Well, we went 2-3, which is not necessarily a great record, but I feel like I played pretty decently in a couple matches specifically. Elves, I did make a mistake keeping that last hand. The Makeshift Munitions was never really going to be able to win us the game against Elves as the sole card trying to hold them off, so that was just a blunder for sure, and that was in game 3, so if I had just found a better hand with a Krark Clan Shaman or even a couple removal spells, we might have been able to take that game down, so I take full responsibility. Against Gruul, I think we played pretty dang well, I will say. We played around as stuff when we could. I think we played pretty reasonably and were able to take the match there. It was close, but we got there. Rakdos and Red Madness both played out very similarly. I think we got unlucky sometimes with like our temporal interventions hitting all lands. Obviously that's them getting unlucky, but then them finding the perfect spell right after. Also, we sided in 3 Navigator's Compass both games, and we never saw them a single time in any of the matches. I do think that we might just be a little bit weak to those decks, seeing as we're a 3-color grindy deck. Those usually are pretty soft to the red burn decks, but Relics should definitely help with that. Removal against Gutter Snipes should help with that, and it just felt like we got a little bit unlucky, so I think that just happens sometimes. In Grixis Control, we did end up winning. I think we played pretty well in Game 3, especially Game 1 all right. Game 2, impeccable. I mean, we won on turn 2, which was crazy. But obviously we won that in part because they conceded when we had mulligan to 5. Still not sure why that happened, but I guess they wanted to help us out a little bit. In any case, I think the deck is very cool. I think it's powerful. I don't necessarily know if it's better than Esper. I think that they both have a lot of draws to them. I do think that Elves has been coming back hard in the last week or two, so I think having access to red for your Court Clan Shamans is really powerful, or even just your Electricaries and Breath Weapons, but I kind of like the Shamans, although they didn't necessarily play out the best, so maybe it shouldn't be Shaman, I don't know. In any case, I'm trying to do my best to get better with some of these decks. There are some other decks that I've played in the last few weeks that I felt similarly to that I didn't necessarily play amazingly, so I might be trying those out again as well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons and Medify subscribers, including my $10 supporters, Howard Granger, Laars, JMW, Rafa Rodriguez, JDNPX, Ill Intent, Jason Golombuski, Groma, Halkaz, Ricardo Pasqualato, and Cody Cowell. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, and I will see you all next time.